Hey, what's going on guys? Chum here, and today we're going to talk about the January patch that just dropped on Star Wars Battlefront. So of course we're going to kick this off with the new weapon balancing that they've added to the game. And I really want to kick this off with the gun that many people consider to be super overpowered, and that is definitely the DL-44, the iconic gun that Han Solo uses. So obviously in this latest patch, DICE has attempted to remedy the overpowered nature of the DL-44, and what they've done is they've actually tweaked the overheat. And assuming that they've tried to nerf it, I'm assuming they made the weapon overheat faster. They haven't really specified. But what they have specified is that they've changed the fire rate from 250 to 180. So that's about 75% the fire rate that it used to have, which is a very decent drop. Ideally, this should make the DL-44 less capable of killing almost in an instant. And yeah, I guess we'll see how it plays out. Although two-shot kills are still going to be a pain, it's going to happen. It's going to be a little bit harder, and you're going to have to get used to the fact that the gun fires a little bit slower. Anyway, let's move on to the next gun, the thing that I'm so glad they patched, the thing that almost made me not want to play the game. And that's the homing shot. And if you guys have seen previous videos, I usually call it the homing salt, because it just makes you salty. And they've done so much to this thing, it's drastic, the changes. The first thing they did is they changed the lock-on time from 0.4 seconds to 1.5 seconds. It takes almost 4 times longer, and that honestly changes everything. The fact that I can't look across the map and instantly lock onto someone and then fire that thing straight away when they're in the open for maybe 2 seconds, that doesn't happen anymore. Not to mention that you can't get into a gunfight up close and personal with someone. You lock onto them and fire a rocket before they kill you. And the number of times that a homing shot has beaten a blaster pistol or even a CA-87, which is a shotgun, at close range is absurd. It's crazy, but now they've remedied that. Now it takes forever to log on, and unless someone is drastically in the open or you're in a really advantageous spot, you're not going to be able to actually get the lock on, let alone fire the shot. Another thing they've done to the lock on is they've actually reduced the distance, so it's now 10 meters shorter than it once was. And while at first when I read this I was kind of like, this is not really that different, right? The lock on range is massive. Apparently not. When I was using it today, as you guys see the footage, I wasn't able to lock onto some people at a pretty close range. So apparently the thing has a greater range cap than I thought, or sorry, a smaller range cap than I thought. Admittedly, I never used the gun. In fact, I felt kind of dirty using the gun today just to get footage of it, because I'd never used it before. But yeah, I mean, it definitely seemed like it wasn't advantageous for me to use this weapon all the time. Now the final change they made to the homing shot is that they decreased the speed of it. So it used to have a speed value of 30, now it's got a speed value of 23. So that's about a 20% drop in speed, which is, not too bad. It's going to be a little bit slower, it's going to give you a little bit more time to get away if someone's looking onto you. And yeah, I feel like the homing shot's not going to be that much of an issue. In fact, I don't think I got hit by it once when I was playing. Not to mention, maybe out of 10 shots fired, I hit 3, and only 2 of them were a kill. So, I mean, there you have it. It's not that great anymore, but it still has its uses. Now, next up is a weapon that I didn't think should have even got nerfed, and that's the bowcaster. Now, for me, I always use the bowcaster, not always, but I usually love to use it, just because it's iconic. It's Chewie's weapon, and I used to think you got to kind of use your other star cards or skillfully position yourself to make the bowcaster really useful. But I guess DICE didn't agree with that, and they figured, hey, it's overpowered, let's reduce it. So now, when you have 5 shots charged on your bowcaster, the damage, instead of doing 50, is going to do 15. And the same for the 1 or 3 shot, the damage goes down from 50 to 10, which is almost nothing. And you think to yourself, now the bowcaster can barely one-shot anyone. Well, I know the gun was kind of destructive before, when you could look at a group of enemies and just kill every single one of them, but it took skill, precise aiming, and just getting into the right spot to get that shot. Often you'd see people use the jump pack to get above them, fire down wasn't unleash destruction. Now that strategy is almost useless because you're doing no damage. While you can still put in work against a group of enemies and damage everyone, you're not likely to get, 1 in 3 kills. That's, I don't know, it's not a lot, and I feel like the star card kind of got gypped in this patch. Maybe they'll change it later. Either way, let's move on to something else. And the next star card I want to talk about is the cycler rifle. While this thing was the bane of everyone's existence in the beta, in the full release this thing is terrible. Honestly, I tried to use it for the trophy where you have to get 10 headshots. I wanted to cry. It was that horrifying. The drop was massive. the bullet speed was slow, and I just felt like I wasn't shooting when I was aiming. But in this patch they did attempt to remedy that with two things. The first thing they did was they reduced the bullet drop. So hopefully now you won't have to aim that much higher than your target to get the headshot or even just the hit. The second thing they did was they changed it so that the weapon does 100 damage when you're within 10 meters of your target. So of course now they've made it a little bit better at long range, so you don't have to lead your shots as much, and they've also made it so that at really close ranges, if you can get that shot off point blank, it will do a 100 damage and get you the kill guaranteed, which is great. I think that's good. It makes the cycle rifle a bit more useful and a bit more versatile. You might actually start seeing people use it now, because I know like people either didn't use it or shouldn't use it. I've been standing still sometimes and have cycle rifle bullets fly past me. I'm like, dude, I wasn't moving. Like, it's that hard to hit someone with it. Either way, let's move on to something else. And the next gun they have listed here is the RTC-97. While I never really thought this gun was overpowered, it did seem to be just a straight up upgrade from the DLT-19, which was once considered overpowered. What they've done is they've increased the overheat value by 8%, and I'm assuming that means that the overheat happens a little bit quicker. And they've also changed this so that when you spray for a long period of time, you will become a lot less accurate, which is completely understandable for such a heavy blaster. That's what they're called, right? Either way, let's move on back onto some star cards. Now another star card they changed is the ion torpedo. They've made the lock-on range a decent amount shorter, from 600 meters to 500 meters, and they did a similar thing with the smart rocket, reducing its range from 1000 meters to 500 meters, which is a lot more drastic. Another thing they changed is a couple of the charged star cards. First of all, they changed scan ping, so that way it has a 50% shorter spotting time. So you activate it and people won't remain, with their red echo for as long. I feel like it never really was too long. Maybe they've reduced it a bit too much, but I guess we'll see how that plays out as the game progresses in this new patch. Another thing they've changed is the explosive shot. For burst fire weapons like the EE3 and the SEC-14, they've reduced the explosive damage from 10 down to 4 for the EE3 and down to 5 for the SE-14C. And I guess I can agree with that. When you have a burst fire weapon that fires that quickly and deals that much damage with explosive shot, it's going to be pretty broken. However, I still believe that the CA-87, the shotgun, is the destroyer of souls with the explosive shot. It will demolish anyone. No hope. Anyway, let's move on. Now, what they've done also is they've actually reduced the active time for the explosive shot. Instead of being 7 seconds normal, it's moved down to 5. And instead of being 10 seconds upgraded, it's moved down to 7. I mean, it's a bit of a hindrance. Not too big of a deal. It's a couple of seconds here and there. Now, another thing they've done is they have also changed the cooldown times for a lot of the star cards. Now, I'll list them for you, but if you want to read more about the actual values and the actual changes, I'll link the article I got from Eurogamer.net and you can check that out. It has all the information. But some of the things they changed is the bowcaster, the flash grenade, the ion torpedo, the thermal detonator, the impact grenade, explosive shot, scan ping, and the barrage, which is understandable. And yeah, so those are all the things they changed the cooldowns for, and they've all been increased. Nothing has been decreased. They've all gone up. And yeah, I mean, I guess the ultimate remedy to something that's being a bit too overpowered is to reduce it. I mean, they've lowered the recharge times on almost all types of grenades and explosives, which is good. It means it reduces the explosive spam like there's no tomorrow, which is amazing. And yeah, I mean, I'm all in favor of this. I like gun on gun, even though this game has a lot of other options. Now I think we should move on to the heroes. So if you guys haven't heard, the heroes now, at least Luke and Han, have different outfits to be fitting for Hoth map. Now you can see on screen here I'm playing as Luke, and he's in the scouting outfit he wears at the beginning of the movie when he is attacked by the Wampa. Not gonna lie, I kind of wish they gave him the X-Fighter pilot suit, because that thing is awesome. I always loved that, but just the fact that we have Luke from Empire with his father's lightsaber, that makes me happy. Anyway, they also changed Han's outfit, as I said before, so he's now rocking the fur coat that he wore when he saved Luke. Again, looks pretty badass. I feel like he's kind of bulky when you're playing as him, and he seems like he takes up a lot of the screen. Either way, I don't care because it looks badass. Now, another thing that happened for Han is they actually nerfed him. So what they've done to Han is they've actually nerfed his damage over distance. The damage used to be a maximum of 75 and a minimum of 35. Now those have changed to 70 and 30 respectively. Now this drop occurs between 10 meters and 25 meters, where previously it was 20 meters and 40 meters. I know it's a bit to wrap your head around. Maybe you can try looking at the link in the description and read it for yourself. Now another thing they've done is they've actually changed Boba Fett. So Boba Fett has had a similar decrease. The damage from each bullet on his EE3 is now 30 to 20, whereas previously it was 25 as a minimum. And they've changed the distance drop off from 30 to 60 while it was 80 previously. So again, Boba Fett is going to do a bit less damage over distance, but I mean, he's still a hero. He still kicks ass. As you can see in the gameplay here, I had no problem being Boba Fett. Another thing they did to Boba Fett was they decreased the explosive radius of his wrist rocket. Instead of being 4 meters, they've changed it to 2.5 meters. However, to make up for this, they've actually made it so that the maximum damage radius, so where the damage at its full without any drop off, that has been increased from 1 meter to 1.2. So there's a bit of a give and take there. One other thing they did to the missile is it no longer locks onto people, which is kind of, it makes sense. I never realized it actually locked onto people until I was like, hey wait, this is curving. There's no precedent to say that that's what would happen, but they did it, and I guess now they've removed it. I can't say it's too hard to hit people with the missile. You just got to use it more wisely than just randomly shooting at people. Now we're going to move on to vehicles. While we're no longer talking about heroes, they have made a few changes to Han Solo's Millennium Falcon and Boba Fett's Slave 1. And what they've done is they actually decreased the health by 30%, which is quite fair. And additionally, they've also changed the spawn timing. So instead of it being really predictable, like say maybe 30 seconds into the game, the pickup appears, they've made them spawn at random times. So I guess it means people who play Fighter Squadron a lot aren't more likely to get it because they know what they're doing. For other things, they've made it so that all the starfighters have a 20-second respawn delay. So people can no longer get in the air, die, and then straight away go back to where they grabbed their pickup and get it straight away. Because it's not fair. You want other people to have their turn in the sky. So if you want to get your vehicle again, you have to wait a little bit. Which I mean, again, for me, as someone who loves being an X-Wing, I'm going to be that asshole who gets in the air again straight away. I'll just wait 20 seconds. However, the T-47 Airspeeder has the same thing where they've added a respawn delay, but it's only 10 seconds. I don't know why there's this differentiation. I can't imagine that it would be too broken to have it at 20. But I guess the Airspeeder is a lot less powerful. You know, it has no missiles, no really great evasive maneuvers. So yeah, I guess we'll see how that plays out. Now there also have been a couple of game mode changes. Some of these changes have to do with the turbo lasers. Now one of the turbo lasers on Sullust has been removed because it was a very, very powerful weapon for spawn killing. And I've personally experienced that. It was not a fun time and I'm glad they removed it. Additionally, they've increased the respawn time of the turbo lasers by 15 seconds. I can't imagine that being a huge difference, but it's something. They've also gone and changed the match bonuses for a lot of game modes, reducing some and increasing some. So if you want to read more about that, feel free to check out the link in the description, like I said, to go to the full article. Additionally, they've changed the minimum number of players to play certain game modes. From what I can see, it looks like some game modes either require now half of the players, so they have a half-size game, or a quarter of the players so that things like Blast, Cargo, Drop Zone can start off very quickly in a 2v2 scenario. Another thing they've done for game modes in this latest update is they've actually taken the Tatooine survival map that we all know from the beta, and they've changed it into a multiplayer map for modes such as Blast and Drop Zone. I played one match of this in Blast, as you can see here, and it does seem to play well. However, one thing I've noticed is that high ground does seem to be the advantage at all times, so rocking a jump pack might be necessary. And beyond that, they've also fixed a couple of bugs. So these bugs will revolve around things such as player movement, animations, all these different things that people kind of don't really realize, as well as it also involves various things involving getting into vehicles, getting out of vehicles, black screens and crashes. Once again, you can read about that in the link in the description. And finally, another bug they fixed, one that I'm very glad they did, is that they've fixed the fact that when you actually complete a match of Blast with the highest kills, the trophy or achievement for playing the objective would not pop. And this glitch was quite common. Lots of people were having it. In fact, from what I had heard, unless you get the most kills that ties with someone else on the other team, only then will both players get the trophy, otherwise no one does. Apparently they fixed this. While I did play a match of Blast and get most kills, I don't remember seeing it pop. But I'll add a little note on screen to tell you if I got it or not. If not, I guess they gotta fix it again. Either way, I think they've done a great job with this patch. If you would ask me a week ago about the things that made me not want to play Battlefront and that I thought was extremely frustrating, every single thing that I would have said is 100% on this list. To be honest, I'd probably only have said DL44 in the homing shot, but I mean, it's there. They've done it. They've fixed it. Or at least they've tried to fix it. We'll see how that plays out in the actual game. But also, I want your thoughts on this latest patch. Let me know what you think. Do you think they've done some bad things? Do you think they've done some good things? What is bad? What is good? And let me know in the comments below. We can have a discussion, and yeah, we can talk about the great world, or I guess galaxy, universe that is Star Wars. Either way, guys, if you want to see more content like this, we'll definitely be covering more patches from Star Wars Battlefront, as well as doing some funny content where we just muck around with different challenges, or maybe play as heroes and I guess roleplay. I don't know, it kind of sounds weird if you say it like that. But yeah, we do that sort of stuff and we have some fun. So if you want to check out more videos on the channel, that'd be great. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.